Hey, welcome everybody. Let's talk real estate. Your weekly BS with Barry Saywitz about the current commercial real estate market here in Southern California. As we take a no BS look at both sides of the issues driving this market today to find the best solutions going forward. With our man right in the middle, it's Barry Saywitz. Hey, Barry.
Hey, good morning, Paul, and good morning to all of our viewers and our listeners out there. It is Tuesday. We are back here again. I am Barry Saywitz, president of the Saywitz Company, managing partner of Saywitz Properties. And if it's one thing I've learned in my 30-plus years of doing this, it's to try and surround yourself with good people, make good business decisions, get informed, and try and stay out of your own way. And so we're going to try and do all of those things again here today. Before we get going, I do want to do a shout out. We are getting close to the Evening for Autism charity fundraising event that I'm hosting at my home in Newport Beach on Saturday, November 2nd. So for anybody out there that still has not gotten a ticket or that's interested in finding out about the event or donating, the event benefits autism, and Easter Seals is the charity organization that it benefits for their treatments of kids and adults with autism. Go to the website. It's www.eveningforautismsocal.com. You can buy tickets. You can learn about autism. You can see some cool stuff. We have 3 bands, 7 restaurants, 8 bars, over 400 people. Lots of fun. Please go check it out. So with all of that said, I'd like to welcome our esteemed guest, the mayor of the great city of Orange here in Orange County, Dan Slater. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Barry.
Yeah, so thanks for coming on. I'm glad to have you because for multiple reasons. Number one, we want to talk about the city and about what's going on in the city and the history and where it's going forward. But then also you yourself have a long history in the real estate business here in Orange County and have seen lots of changes. So we'll touch on both. But I guess to start with, I want to kind of rewind. You are a lifelong resident of Orange County, went to school at Cal State Fullerton. I guess my first question for you would be, why did you decide to stay in Orange County after school? What was the draw? And then how did you get into the real estate business in the first place?
Well, it's kind of hard to leave. Actually, my family's been in the city of Orange since the 1800s. So we have a long history in the city. I grew up between Orange and Santa Ana, but primarily in Orange. So I went all through schools in Orange, and then I started college at Cal Poly Pomona. Went there for 2 years, then transferred to Cal State Fullerton because they had a great business school. And when I graduated from there, I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do, so my dad had a real estate office, Orange Realty, that is now the oldest real estate office in Orange. It's been around since 1949. Yeah. So I thought I'll give real estate a try, and here I am.
Yeah, so once you start, then it's hard to go back. So, I mean, if you rewind, certainly with the family business, I mean, a lot of changes in Orange County and certainly within the city as well over time. I mean, it goes from farmland and agricultural to small town to all of a sudden it's this suburban metropolitan type of an area. I guess let's talk. We were talking earlier about the history of the city of Orange. A lot of people don't know it, but maybe give us the skinny on how it came to be, because it's really been around for quite a long time.
So, like many cities in Southern California, it started out as a farming community. It was established by 2 attorneys from LA, Glassell and Chapman, and they set out the city with the plaza, well-known plaza downtown as the core. And again, it was mostly farms, but over time, of course, suburbia took over and land prices went up. And today we're a city of about 140,000 people, covering about 26 square miles. So it's a good-sized city. There's others that are larger, of course, in Orange County, but we're very proud of the city of Orange.
And the interesting thing to note, just for those of you out there, a fun fact, the city of Orange was not named because of the orange groves. It originally was called Richland, and then they found out that there was another city in California named Richland, so they couldn't do it. And they needed to come up with something different. And they were trying to get a movement at the time in the late 1800s to create a county of Orange. And the folks who were involved with the city wanted the city of Orange to be the county seat. So they named it the city of Orange. And everybody thinks it's about the orange groves, but it's not.
Well, that's right. So Orange County was originally part of LA County, and not sure when exactly it broke away, but the city of Orange was established in 1888, so we've been around for 136 years now.
Yeah, and one of the real draws in today's environment and historically has been the downtown area, right? It really is somewhat famous for the shops and the restaurants and just the vibe that goes on there. And you guys continue with the city council to continue to try and have that area be a draw and continue to have it evolve. I guess talk about that a little bit.
Well, the downtown, of course, is our crown jewel. It's what we're primarily known for, although there's many other aspects of the city that I could talk about. But that is our commercial core. That was the center of Orange, and then the original town spread out from that downtown. And so now we have what is the largest National Register historic district in the entire state of California is the Orange National Historic District, and it consists of our commercial core and then about 1,400 pre-1940 historic homes, primarily craftsmen, but there's a mix that surround that downtown core. It's about a mile square.
And really the push from the city's perspective is to keep that, right? I mean, there's no tearing down those historic buildings and just building something else that's more modern in the midst of all these kind of quaint older buildings. The whole idea is to keep that vibe going forward.
Well, that's correct, but there's some misconceptions. For instance, the city is only interested in people preserving the exterior facades of their homes. You can paint your home whatever color you want. You can remodel the interior however you want. So it's just the exterior facades that we're really interested in preserving, and we're doing a good job.
And in today's environment, post-COVID, really, you'd mentioned there's a growth with new restaurants popping up in that area and really a central place for people to go out at night and dine and do their thing.
It really has become a dining destination. So it's we've got a lot of unique restaurants. We don't really have very many chain restaurants downtown, but it's come on down. It's really interesting. You'll love it.
Yeah, whatever food you like to eat, it's there, right? And then the other thing that I always found interesting, at least in the last 10 years plus or so, is the block at the City of Orange, because that really was, I don't want to call it an albatross because it wasn't an albatross, but it was a destination, but it was office once upon a time, and then all of a sudden it got converted into this sort of regional outdoor mall and continues to evolve as time goes on.
Well, originally it was the city shopping center when I was growing up in the 60s and 70s, and was an old, tired, enclosed mall, and they opened it up again, and now it's the outlets, and it's thriving, and there's a lot of new apartment construction going in around it, and other businesses. So some potential hotels on the way we're hoping for. So that's an exciting, dynamic area on our west side.
Yeah, I mean, with the hospital and proximity to the stadiums, it really is a central kind of a location that I think will continue to develop and redevelop as time goes on.
And it's right at the Orange Crush, so
Right.
It has very good freeway accessibility.
Yeah. So, all right, so let's rewind for a second. So you get into real estate, into the family business. It's on the residential side of things. You've obviously seen over the years the run-ups in the values of the properties and the height of the market, and then the crash and the dot bomb and the dot-com and the recession. And so I guess I would ask you, rather than relive all the horrible and great things in the past, what are your thoughts as to where we are today? Because I find it to be sort of a tumultuous time of indecision, if you will.
So I've been selling real estate in Orange for 39 years now. Since I graduated from college, I've been through 3 down cycles. So I've been through quite a bit and seen quite a bit. Today it's a really interesting market. Things kind of seem to be stuck in first gear.
Yeah.
And I think that's primarily because people don't want to sell for the most part. They're happy where they're at. They primarily sell if they retire or their job transfers. But the interest rates, when they went up, that definitely finally cooled the market off, because it was white hot, as you probably know. And the interest rates went up and the market finally stalled. And I think that was probably overdue because of the huge price increases that we've experienced. And then when rates came down 1% or so a month or two ago, it kind of gave a shot in the arm to the market, and the market started to take off again. But then now rates have stalled, and typically in the fall, residential sales start to slow down anyway, naturally. We're getting toward the holidays. Inventory has increased a little bit, although it hasn't increased enough to really stall the market. So there's still buyers out there, and the market is still considered, in my opinion, a seller's market, but it may be transitioning to a buyer's market.
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of those thoughts and ideas. What I find is that the silliness that you mention of 6 or 10 offers on a property, having it hold up your hand and it sells in 2 days for over the asking price, that's not happening anymore. And while brokers and listing agents would like to believe that that's the case or try to play it up, that we have all kinds of activity, the real buyers versus the tire kickers is really a different story. And then secondly, you have, I think, transitioned to a stage of I have to buy it, I have to do stupid things to lock up a property because I want it because someone else really will get it, to I lock up the property and then I come back and retrade it because either the interest rate or the appraisal or the amount of work to fix it up or I find something wrong. And you have buyers trying to do that, and you still have sellers holding on to yesterday's value where they believe my house is worth X and it's probably not.
And very many people want to hold on to their low interest rates and lower taxes, because if they move, taxes are going to go up. They're going to be paying a higher interest rate. So there's not a lot of incentive for move-up buyers. Nevertheless, there's still plenty of buyers out there. I think as long as the economy stays as good as it is, and that's the great thing about Orange County, is we generally have a robust economy and some growth. So I think that will sustain the market in the long term.
Yeah, and I, as you said, I think that the sales and the transactions that are happening are because the seller has an event or there's something pushing them to do it. And the same with the buyer. If the buyer can keep kicking the tires and throwing out low ball offers and see if somebody takes it, if they're not super motivated to buy, then they continue to do that. And then from a seller's perspective, I hear many times where the seller says, if I got my number, I'd sell, but if I don't, I'll just keep it, right? And then you wind up as a broker or an agent, you wind up doing work, and then there's no deal at the end of the day, which stinks.
Correct.
And so I still think that you're going to see this period of uncertainty certainly through the end of the year. I'm curious your thoughts.
Well, I think that with the election hanging over things a little bit and some uncertainty in the market, that I think that there is a little bit of hesitation out there right now. But again, typically it is seasonal. In the fall, things tend to slow down a little bit. But I've sold homes between Christmas and New Year's, so there's always buyers in Orange County looking for homes. So that's a given.
Yeah, I guess it'll be interesting to see. And I don't know, while everybody's sort of trepidatious about the election and nobody really knows which way it's going to go on not only the presidential front, but also on many other pivotal elections that are out there. I don't know how that's going to trickle down in the short run, but I certainly feel like what's happening with the overall economy, people's perception of where it's headed, will also factor into the everyday thinking of the buyer and the seller out there. I think a lot of people believe what they read in the paper or see on the internet and what they hear, and then it factors into their thinking.
It's always about the economy.
Yeah. So what do you think are sort of the biggest issues going forward, not only relative to the real estate market, but also, I guess, relative to your city and what's going on? I mean, in the next 12 months, is inflation still going to be an issue? Certainly interest rates have got to impact what happens with the residential side of things.
Well, absolutely. But I think as inflation is brought under control, and seems to have been, I think over time interest rates are going to tick down a little bit, and I think that's going to be a positive thing for the market, undoubtedly. People are waiting for interest rates to drop, and there's an expectation. So
I agree. I agree. I mean, I think the days of the 2s and the 3s of an interest rate are gone. But I'd like to, I mean, you'd like to wish for a 4 and certainly hope for a 5 and not a 6 or a 7.
Historically, interest rates even today aren't that bad. I mean, when I bought my first home in the late 70s, it was 10 3/4, and I mean that we're so much better today than then. And
Yeah.
of course, it went higher, but
But people's sense of relativity is, I'm living on yesterday's number, which is why you get back to if I have a 2.5% interest rate on my home and I have very low taxes, there's really not a lot of motivation to sell.
there's not.
Yeah. So, relative to the city, let's jump back for a second. What are some of the things that you, as the city council, as a group, are looking at, and some of the big points going forward for the city of Orange? I mean, is it, we've had other mayors from other cities, and we've talked about transportation, we've talked about certainly redevelopment, talked about how affordable housing, homelessness. Are those all things that you guys toss around in your meetings?
Wow, you've covered pretty much all of them. So I've been mayor for only 2 years. I made a comeback after 20 years ago. I was on the city council. And there was a lot of issues to tackle. Of course, you've mentioned most of them. But in the last 2 years, fortunately, crime rate has ticked down 12% in Orange. Homelessness is dropping. We're getting on top of that. And the city is neat and clean, and people are very proud of the city of Orange, and it shows. The bigger issues still hanging out there, however, are our revenue and our budget. So what has been true for most of the established cities in Orange County is that revenues have gone flat, and that's due to a lot of sales going online, and costs have been going up. Costs for wages, costs for materials, asphalt, vehicles, all of it keeps going up, but revenue's flat. So cities are faced with a problem and not enough revenue. In Orange, we especially have our own fire, police, and library. Many cities contract out to the county for that. They're getting good service from the county, of course, but we get top-notch service from our system. So,
And you have more control, I think, too, if you have your own.
absolutely. So we have a half-cent sales tax measure on the ballot to try to fix that problem. However, aside from that and the cuts we've made, we are looking at really growing our economic development. And we have so much potential in Orange. We have the Orange County Vibe on our western border, that multi-billion-dollar investment right across the Santa Ana River from us. So we're seeing how we can bring some of that over to the city of Orange. We have the old tired Mall of Orange, which is being torn down right now, but there is no solution yet as to what is going to replace that. Certainly we prefer more retail, again, for sales tax revenue, as cities, most of their income is generated from sales tax revenue, and then a portion from property taxes and a few other things, hotel taxes. But we are really focusing on growing our economic development, which has also been ignored for the last 15 years or so since the state ended redevelopment. But that's going to take some time. So we have a bridge on the ballot, a half-cent sales tax, to try to get us across the line until that kicks in more.
And do you face the same sort of pressures that we've heard from other mayors in other cities from Sacramento in terms of this, we want you to create affordable housing, here's your number that you're supposed to create, and then you throw your hands up and go, I don't know how I'm supposed to do that, right?
That is a huge challenge, and in fact, our housing element didn't get approved in time, so there was 3 builders' remedies, which is an opportunity for a developer to say, hey, you don't have your housing element completed yet, so we're going to submit a project, and you have to allow it to be built. So we're dealing with that. One of them is actually on the Orange Mall, and so I think we're going to come to some kind of a solution or compromise there that the community can wrap their arms around and embrace. But
it's a challenge. I mean, there's no
is.
question there's a challenge. And then from a builder's perspective, I mean, you wear a real estate hat as well. I mean, it's hard to make things pencil with construction costs and then If there's only so much rent, I've got to get subsidies or tax breaks or other things to make it work. And while there's certainly a need for housing and certainly a need for affordable housing, the amount of housing that you're trying to create within the framework of the city that you have and then balance that is really a challenge. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it.
And then you also have the political pressure of requiring I forget what you call it, but requiring union labor to build the housing, which costs more money. And then the added pressure of you've got to have so many affordable units.
Right.
And of course, that's a detriment to developers because that's going to cost more money and they're going to get less return. So all kinds of things and pressures that, quite frankly, are making it more difficult to build.
Yeah, and then with being land constrained, the only real way to do it is to go up, and then you have a community pushback saying, hey, I don't want some big behemoth building in my neighborhood. I want to keep it nice and quaint the way it is. And so you have public perception pushing back also.
So recently we have a couple of very nice senior housing projects under construction. We also recently approved a 43 unit small lot subdivision, which is the first one in Orange. Those are very popular with young people. They have 3 or 4 stories, but they sell very well. And then on the east end, we're going to complete the rest of the Irvine Company project. We've got 1,100 homes about to begin construction out at our eastern border between Jamboree and the toll road,
Right.
and then that'll be the end of construction in East Orange for residential. So
And that's one of the few larger scale residential developments around, really, because you do have the land to be able to build it, and I think those will sell quickly.
I definitely think they will, yes.
And so, what about beautification and certainly, public safety? Everybody wants to feel safe and be safe. And for me, if I was mayor, which I'll never be, but if I was, one of the first things I would do is clean up the streets and landscaping and do upgrades, which is difficult to do on a constrained budget. But the nicer the city is when people come to visit or for their own residents, certainly I think the better off it is.
You're 100% correct. When you drive through a city, you want it to feel safe. You want it to look clean.
Yeah.
So we've put extra emphasis on graffiti removal, and you'd be challenged to see graffiti in Orange anywhere now. We have increased our cleaning of the tree wells to keep weeds out of them. We're getting rid of trash. We have a new Adopt a Street program that citizens can volunteer to adopt a few blocks or a street and commit to keeping it clean once a month, and that is helping. I think about 4 miles of streets have been adopted so far. We have one of the greatest recreational assets running through the middle of our city, which is San Diego Creek, is the largest watershed in all of Orange County. Santa Ana River is the largest in Southern California, but San Diego Creek runs into it. But San Diego Creek runs right through the middle of Orange, and it's our central park, so to speak. And there hasn't been any focus put on that in the past, but we are laser focused on it now to make that really the centerpiece of our city, as well as Old Town, of course.
Yeah.
But it's just another opportunity to really show off Orange with this amazing recreational vehicle that we have running right through the middle of our city.
Yeah, I mean, look, I couldn't agree more with the beautification, and the better the city is, the nicer it is, the cleaner it is, the safer it is. That all gets back to, if I want to switch my hats around for a second, to the real estate, right? The value of the real estate will go up the nicer and the more attractive that the destination is. And you're poised right in the center of all the action of what's going on in Orange County. And so long term, I think the city of Orange is a great place to be. And I think buying property there is going to do you well in the long term.
You can't go wrong. We're surrounded by 4 major freeways, so freeway accessibility is fantastic. It's so easy to get to Orange, in and out of Orange. But the freeways don't really impact Orange. You don't really see or hear them that much, but they're there and they're close by. So.
And I find too that we've talked about on other shows as well, is you still have certain jobs where people are working at home either part-time or full-time, and so where I live and how I live becomes that much more important in terms of open space or extra office or convert my garage or part of it or my backyard or side yard or whatever it is. Those things are just far more important than they always used to be in the past, I think.
We have, and I want to talk about our residential and real estate a little bit more. In addition to our Old Town Historic District, we have 3 other historic districts that a lot of people aren't aware of yet, but Joseph Eichler built 3 Eichler tracks in the city of Orange, which are extremely unique at post and beam construction. And those homes are selling at a real premium, probably even more price per square footage than the homes in Old Town. But everyone loves the mid-century modern look, and those homes can really shine when they're done right. Additionally, we have Orange County's largest equestrian community in East Orange, Orange Park Acres. And in addition to being the best equestrian community in all of Orange County, they have a 25-mile horse trail system that the citizens themselves maintain out there. And that is considered to probably be the best equestrian trail system in the entire state of California. So we have a lot to talk about in Orange. We've got 3 outstanding hospitals, so we're a medical center as well. We have 2 outstanding colleges. Chapman University is often ranked the best university in all of Orange County. We have San Diego Canyon College in East Orange, which is about 30,000 student community college, ranked the best out of 9 community colleges in Orange County and 8th out of 116 community colleges in the state of California. So 2 top-notch universities also drive people to Orange and keep them there after they've graduated.
Yeah, no question the area around Chapman has really, well, certainly it's much nicer, and you have a lot of these older homes that have been fixed up and converted, and the value of those properties will continue to go up as the university continues to grow and become even more respected than it is. I mean, very well respected for the business school, the film school, and so you look at these pockets in the city of Orange, and you've got these sort of mini draws in different parts of the city, and then the value of the real estate in those little mini pockets is elevated because of that. And then in fact what winds up happening is then the overall value of the real estate within the city just is at a premium.
Right, those pockets raise the whole boat, so to speak.
So what keeps you up at night in terms of looking forward relative to the economy and how it relates back to, you know, your day job with the residential real estate market? I mean, what do you think is the biggest thing that you're going to watch moving forward?
Again, I would just say riding our financial ship and making the city a little bit more prosperous with regards to our budget, and again finding sources for income so that we can sustain the quality of life and the quality of the services that the city of Orange is used to.
And for those people out there that are thinking about buying a home in the next 12 months, what's your advice to them?
I would say that it's always a good time to buy real estate unless we're heading into a recession or in a recession, and we are certainly not there. So I think it's a great time to buy real estate, especially when you think about the downtime of the year, which is basically November through January. That's the time to really buy, because homes are not moving as quickly then, but there's still motivated sellers out there, and they're going to want to see offers. So that is the best time of year for negotiating and getting a better buy, in my opinion.
Yeah, no question. I mean, if you're not buying toys for your kids, maybe you want to go out and buy a house, right? It is the slowest time of the year to be able, and people, for many reasons, at the end of the year, close the books, closure, tax purposes, whatever the case is, it is a good time to buy a car or a house, I think. And so the other thing I wanted to ask you in terms of the transactional side on your real estate business, do you find that there are transactions getting done where people are buying down the interest rate, or where the seller is offering to buy down the interest rate to be able to make it more affordable to get closure on the deal? We've heard other folks on the show come in, and certainly on these very high-end, high-ticket price homes, it may become an issue where somebody, to try and get them over the edge to pay the price that they want. And I'm just curious if you're seeing that in your day-to-day experiences.
So in Orange, the median price for a residential home is between 1 million and 1.1 million. So we're not, I mean, that's high, but we're not like a beach cities.
Right.
I have not seen any transactions like that yet. I'm not expecting to unless interest rates really get out of whack. So I'm still seeing a lot of 20% downs or all cash buyers, and because they've sold another property is generally the case, and they have the cash. So no, I'm not seeing any creativity at all yet.
And I'm curious, not to get too political on things, but you hear Vice President Harris talking about part of her plans, which is to provide people with this first-time home buyer credit or this business credit. Do you see that getting implemented if she gets into office quickly? And then do you see that from a practical standpoint really affecting what happens in the marketplace?
Again, because the prices are so high in Orange County, I don't think that people
Yeah, I think it's going to move the needle.
need that. I think it's could move the needle in other parts of the country where real estate's more affordable and people have a hard time getting in.
Yeah, I mean, if you're buying a home for a couple $100,000 and your down payment was $20 or $30 or $40,000, it would almost allow you to get in for next to nothing, and then a renter could convert to being a buyer. In Southern California, it's a different dynamic, I think. So, as far as the inflation, I feel like it's better than it was. But I also hear from our own tenants in our properties every day and from my own staff, hey, things just cost more, right? I mean, gas is down from where it was. I saw 3, which I was just shocked. I mean, it was the first time I've seen it, and it was the all cash price on the regular, and it was a one-time deal. But it's not, 5s and 6s anymore. But I'm curious your thoughts on how that goes going forward and how that plays into people's spending habits.
Well, clearly we've had a significant bout of inflation, and we're not having any deflation. So I think the problem is people are still having to adjust to the higher prices. And even though inflation seems to be under control and prices have stopped going up, for the most part, again, we're stuck with the higher prices, and that's unfortunate. But anyway, certainly that thinking has an effect probably on the marketplace.
Yeah, but I think still Orange County at the end of the day is a desirable place for people to live. There is demand for people to live here, whether it's the sunshine or proximity to the beach or all the great things that we've talked about in all these different cities. And so I think long term, you're still going to see value in the real estate. You're still going to see more demand than people leaving. And while there's no question you could move to Texas or Arizona or Nevada and get more bang for your buck, at the end of the day, you got to live there. And so that's the push-pull in terms of how things go. But I do think it's a constant challenge of trying to be able to afford to live in an area you want to be and be able to work there and still have quality of life. And I guess that's going to be the challenge for everyone going forward.
One of my wiser college professors said the simple statement, hey, real estate is a finite resource. There's not any more of it unless you're in Hawaii and get a lava flow or something. But honestly, there's not any more beach property. There's not any place that has the weather like Orange County, and it's going to continue to grow, and there's going to be more and more demand for real estate as time goes by. So I think real estate is an investment that you just can't go wrong on long term.
Yeah, I agree. And I think if you're in it for the long haul and you have the resources and you can get in, it's worth doing it. And the guys who were buying and flipping and selling, that seems to be by the wayside for the moment. But long term, I don't think you can go wrong. That's
Correct.
For sure. So if people want to get more information about the city of Orange, what's the website that they can go to?
It's cityoforange.org.
It's an easy one, easy to remember. So Paul is waving at me. He's getting hungry. He wants to move on to something else, and I think we're close on time. But I do want to thank you for coming on the show and sharing your thoughts and talking about the great city of Orange. And I wish you and your family and your business and the city much continued success. And thank you for all you do in public service and trying to make things better.
Thank you, Barry, for having me. It's really been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's great. So I am Barry Saywitz, president of the Saywitz Company. Once again, if you're thinking about going to the charity event, please go check out the website, evening for FOR autismsocal.com. We will be back here next week talking more real estate. I'm Barry Saywitz. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Well, there you have it. You've been listening to Let's Talk Real Estate, your weekly BS with Barry Saywitz about the current state of the real commercial real estate market right here in Southern California. On Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio, streaming live from our studio here at the University of California Irvine's Beale Applied Innovation Center.